Uh, what is going on, everybody? I believe we are live right now on YouTube. And I have a very special guest. Some of you may have seen her on Twitter under the handle Skye Daddy. Others of you may have seen her on the Slow News Day podcast. But this is her official introduction as a new member of the MCSC network. I'd like to welcome on Trace. How are you doing?
Skye, and nice to meet you guys.
So, you can you let people kind of know how you like got into the political scene, because you don't work in politics. This isn't like something that you like woke up one day like, yeah, I'm gonna be a politician one day and I'm gonna get on Twitter and just become famous for talking shit about politics. Because you're just, this is kind of like a hobby for you, but you grew really fast, just kind of telling the truth that a lot of people aren't willing to tell. So how did you decide to get involved in politics?
It kind of, it definitely was not planned like that. I was actually in LGBTQ Twitter, and I wasn't doing very well there just because it's mostly liberals. And when the election time came around, I recognized that holy shit, all these people around, no, they don't talk about politics except near election year. I'm sure they're not even talking about it for the most part now. Like they only talk about it when it was time to get Donald Trump out. So I didn't realize how much I hated their opinions, like I knew that I was discourse and all that shit and just jumping down people's throats instead of educating people. But I had no idea like how I was not like in my space. So around the election time, everyone was shaming people for not voting for Joe Biden, the few people who weren't in that space. And I was like, fuck that. So kind of started there. I started talking about, the mass incarceration records and just how he's full of fucking shit. And it was a problem. And then that's when I started talking about politics. Then I think, honestly, I got retweeted by, like, I don't want to say the person because I know he's probably like, why did I fucking retweet this bitch now?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't know the extent of my views.
I kind of want to know the person now.
Yeah, I'll tell you offline. But I don't want like them to be like, you help this bitch, bro. But they retweeted
always
me
like that though.
And yeah, I know, right? And they retweeted me like follow these leftists and whatever. And again, I was just doing my thing. I never really was in leftist Twitter. It's just that he saw my ideals and he was like, okay, this person has leftist ideals. And so he retweeted me and I grew a little bit there. And that's kind of, I ended up in the algorithm in that way. So I left LGBT Twitter with a bang. I made a thread of all the things I hate about the liberal letter gang and how they're self-absorbed as fuck and how there's fucking gay people dying in Nigeria and all these other people, but they just want to fucking jump down people's throats for fucking pronouns and shit. So I just went off on that thread, and that kind of, the only people left after that was leftists. And that's kind of how it started. And then I realized, holy shit, these motherfuckers are performative as fuck, just like the liberals fucking LGBT.
Yeah, just a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean literally that is what they spend all day on Twitter doing, is looking for some way to like convince people that they're like that they actually stand for anything when goddamn well these people don't stand for shit. And so you were tweeting a lot, and you were, tweeting controversially, but most of it was like you were being purpose, because I do the same shit. I'm like purposely hyperbolic and inflammatory to get a point across. The motherfuckers don't want to listen when you all civil and shit.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
No, I just agree.
Yeah. So now you've begun to transition, obviously, into recording. So you got TikTok now, you have Instagram, and you've even been getting a lot of traction on there. So can you explain really quick why you decided to go ahead and transition into doing video recording, versus just exclusively tweeting? Because I know that's a different step. There's a little bit more expectation that comes with that.
Oh, definitely. I wasn't getting my point across in tweets. Tweets are so short form, and it fucking so irritating because people always want you to put out this whole ideal. Like, how do you think we should solve poverty? Like, bitch, you want me to put that in fucking a tweet, bro? Like,
yeah, they dead ass serious too. They're dead ass serious. They're like, oh, so what's your solution to all the problems in the world then?
I know, like, nigga, if you want me to make a thread, like, no, my thumbs are gonna be tired. I'm not gonna do that. And also, I just wanted to tell people to suck my dick in video format. I think it just has that little extra thing to it. So that's really a big reason. TikTok, they delete my videos. I have like 4 or 5 videos get deleted. Like they always just delete my shit. I'm way too vulgar for fucking TikTok.
I did not know they could do that. Actually, I thought they would eventually kick you off if they had to delete that many videos. But
yeah,
I didn't know that TikTok was taking down videos like that. I mean, but they are Chinese owned, so they got their type of
that they want to go going on. Yeah.
Yep. So they got their own paternalism going on. So I do have to give a full disclaimer. I know that the Chinese government isn't as bad as the U.S. government, but like at the end of the day, it's still a government and it's still one of the most powerful super in the world. And like you don't have to think that communism is bad to rightfully criticize the Chinese government for its capitalist ideologies that it espouses.
Exactly.
I don't know why people have a problem, parsing the two, but like there's a reason that they're running through Africa, ravaging through Africa right now. And some of it's bilateral negotiations, but other parts of it is just taking advantage of the fact that Africa has been colonialized so much and they haven't really recovered from it. And they swooped in to take advantage of it. It's like another form of gentrification, essentially, on a global level. So like, yeah. Exactly. With that being said, you're mostly known for just honestly talking shit about politicians. And two of the people were kind of surprised when I brought you on because everybody obviously knows I work for Tulsi, right? But for some reason they were under the impression that I personally never criticized her, which is literally not true. That's actually part of the reason I ended up on her campaign was because of a 20-minute video I did criticizing her. And you obviously being hyperbolic, like I know you're joking, which is I don't take that stuff too seriously, but the criticisms that you are leveraging against her or other politicians most of the time are true, despite the fact that you obviously you have your own spin that you put on it for entertainment value and just to get your point across. And so can you give a little bit of your issue with people who put so much faith in these politicians to the point where they're willing to die on the hill or die on the cross damn near to protect them over listening to the people who are being affected by the decisions of these politicians who are either half-stepping or overtly corrupt?
Exactly. There's 2 reasons. Well, one is just fucking pathetic. I do not get it. I don't see these people as our friends or anything that nature. These people to me are just propagandists here to oppress the fucking working class. Politicians it's never worked out for the working class. 2, let's say they do care. And this is a fucking important part that I just do not get. Let's say they do care. Validating everything they do, even when they do something that's harmful, is the opposite thing that you want to do. You want to show, hey, I like you, but I'm not sure if you understand how this affects me negatively. Hey, I like you, but are you really seeing this fucking part of the fucking problem? Hey, you're from this place and you're coming from this mind. Let's say Tulsi, she's coming from a military background. I'm sure she hasn't been in urban poverty in certain these situations that I have been in. So why the fuck, if you're supposed to be my ally, if you're a leftist and you're supposed to be for poverty and all that shit, why the fuck wouldn't you be like, hey, Tulsi, this whole gun control thing is going to fucking affect the fucking Black community.
And what's funny is, by the way, her own supporters are actually on her ass often about the fact that she's actually too, I guess not soft on gun control, but like too hard on gun control. Like my idea of gun control, there should be no control over fucking guns. Actually, I know people are surprised by this. I'm a leftist, but like if you can afford a tank, you should be able to have a goddamn tank in your backyard. Bitch, the government can have a goddamn tank in their backyard. They're running over my fucking people while we in the streets with these goddamn tanks. You know what I'm saying? They're running over fucking Muslims in the Middle East. They're running over Africans in fucking Africa and shit. But like, we can't have a tank. I thought the whole point of the Second Amendment was supposed to be to defend against governments, foreign and motherfucking domestic. Okay. Want an AK-47, bitch? Here you go. Exactly. AK-47s don't kill people. White boys having a bad day kill people. And I would like to be able to defend myself against those white boys when they do have a bad day.
Exactly. And it's for everybody. Like it's fucking against everyone's interest. It's against everyone's interest to give up their fucking guns. So I mean, Tulsi's talking about if you take away guns, the less that the fucking working class can protect themselves, the more they need the government to protect them. And they're not doing a good job. We already know
the opposite. Yeah.
So for me, it's like, why the fuck are you getting mad at me for being like, hey, we should be on their ass, so maybe we can actually get a candidate who cares, even though I don't believe in that, but let's say I did. That would be the fucking action. It would be put pressure on them. Let's say, hey, Tulsi, this is a bad idea. Maybe we should back away from this. You know, like, why fucking validate them when they don't even have our same views?
I would say, so as a person who worked with Tulsi and was obviously an avid supporter of her during her campaign, one of the things that we bitched about as Tulsi supporters were that no one would hold Bernie to that standard that you're holding Tulsi to, right? Because Bernie had, it even still does have has a certain level of power that no one else, and influence that really no one else had, that was perceivably outside of the establishment. And now Tulsi is in a position where her words can mean more, right? Because she's not a politician anymore. And so now people are like, well, you're not saying anything to get office, so you're just saying shit and you're wrong, then you have to be held accountable for it, right? Because there's a certain amount of freedom that you have that comes with not being a politician anymore. But with that freedom, people almost take what you say like as the gospel more so, in my opinion, because now there's no political office attached to it. You're just saying it because you believe that. And if people believe in her, if she's not being criticized or held accountable, some people can fall into the trap of believing she can do no wrong. And that's just not what you want to, we don't want to perpetuate that type of cyclical problem again, because that's how we got a Bernie Sanders who took a bunch of money from a bunch of poor people and then quit, like, because he got healthcare. He fine. If he didn't have healthcare, I guarantee he wouldn't have fucking quit.
He fucking got that money and dipped, yo.
Dip.
And that's what I'm fucking saying. Like, and also Tulsi's going to fucking run for office, and the people will keep saying that shit. I don't know when. Of course she's going to run for fucking office. And if you're a supporter of her, you should want that. And you should be in her mind trying to plan for Tulsi getting in office. If you're a supporter, it doesn't even make sense to fucking be a hill of she's not a fucking civilian, but don't you want her to be? Then, and if so, why are you getting behind someone who's not going to do shit? Change your fucking time and admiration and stand-em go better to someone who's actually going to be in office? That's fucking stupid.
That too. Yeah. So it's like either way, you need to be holding her accountable, because either she isn't going to do anything, which is like her prerogative. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's her prerogative. She's done a lot, but you're right. If she is running for office, we need to hold her accountable and make sure she gets it right now. Right. Because we know that she's going to be overly scrutinized. She's a woman of color. Like, we saw how the fuck she was treated. So why set her up for failure, but by not preparing her appropriately, by scrutinizing her, which all politicians should be scrutinized. I don't give a shit if you like them or not.
Exactly. It's just like, what the fuck? And Tulsi, if Tulsi was who she said she was back in the early days, because I read a lot of it in the earlier days, and there's been like a fucking shift. But if she was who she said back in the earlier days, I wouldn't have shit to say. Like, people act like I'm saying shit for no reason. Like, the fucking anti-2A shit, the fucking assault ban that
she's always been weird on that, though. That's been one of the issues that I've had with her for a while now. So, like, she got a question in New Hampshire about, people think she panders, and Tulsi actually doesn't have the ability to pander. It's like she just gets shit wrong sometimes, and that's fine, right? But it's also fine once again to call her out on it. At that point, if it's fine for her to get things wrong, then it has to be fine to call her out. And somebody in New Hampshire asked her a question about this, and everybody in the crowd was cheering for the guy, because they're like, bro, we love our guns. Like, the fuck, like, we need our guns. So can you not be this bad on this issue? And people were cheering for the guy, and she still answered how she always answers. But that's, at that point, like you said, then it's important to keep criticizing her, because, like you said, as a black person, bruh, don't take my goddamn guns. Like, The reason that guns are illegal in California is because of what? Because of Ronald Reagan trying to make sure the Black Panthers couldn't bring guns to the Capitol, to the state Capitol.
Exactly. And then this is some of the anti-BDS law I wasn't a fan of. I just didn't fuck that. It's pretty much a law to where if you want to boycott Israel as a business, your tax money that they use to give grants and all that shit to help your small businesses that you put in, you won't be able to do that. The fucking state and fucking federal government can deny giving you your tax dollars that you help boycott Israel. And to me, that impedes on free speech. So to me, that fucking needs to be criticized. And I don't understand why that would be a problem.
Yeah. I would say another criticism of her that I had recently is, I don't even know what the hell the quote unquote anti-whiteness thing about. I don't know what the fuck the tweet was about. I really don't give a shit. But I'm not really in the business of defending random politicians that I don't know. But like, you can't have that energy while you're seeing real true racism happen in Israel and Palestine right now. And she knows just from from the vantage point of somebody who's been so hyper criticized and scrutinized on this particular issue, even though she was actually the best candidate on the issue during the primary, and people didn't know that she was the best candidate on the issue. But you know, she's being hyper scrutinized, or she knows she's being hyper scrutinized. So why, in the middle of this onslaught that we are seeing from Israel against the Palestinians, would you talk about some random fucking politician, like some white politician somewhere, when actual people of color are being bombarded and slaughtered as we speak? Like, exactly. Why do that?
Exactly. Because for me, I didn't have a problem with, I don't fucking, like I said in my video, I always say both of them. Like, fuck Lori Lightfoot too. Like, bitch, shut up.
Exactly, right? Like, you know, I fucking like her. Like, you don't have to like her to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're both doing that shit. Like, why follow that shit up? You know, especially when everything that's going on. Like, I don't even fucking have a fucking problem with if someone called out, hey, don't you think this is not really helpful in this time? Like, why the fuck are you really going about this? But not right now, man. Not right fucking now. Like, fucking issue.
Read the room. You gotta read the room. If you're gonna be a good politician, you gotta learn how to read the room.
Exactly. Because I don't even have a fucking problem with the whole, hey, fucking let's not always fucking be so hateful towards fucking white people. That doesn't help unity. That's one thing saying it, but when you focus on that, when fucking Palestinians are going through fucking hell and fucking I mean, have you said anything about?
It's no different than when you see neoliberals try and co-opt the BLM message, like to ignore. It's almost like to ignore what's actually happening to the Black community, or how Black Black plight is being weaponized. Like, they try to ignore that. And it's the same thing. Like, don't fucking ID politics, because that's still ID politics. You know, white people did invent ID politics. People forget that shit. Like, yeah, people forget that shit. Oh, Slow News Days in the chat. Steve is in there. Brooks is in here. Hey, Brooks, man.
What up,
Brooks, y'all? Giannis, Greek freak. Hey, you know, we still love Jimmy Buckets, y'all, but hey, I'm a Giannis. I'm down with the struggle. Not saying that Jimmy don't get out the mud either, but hey, I'm down with the refugee struggle right here, and we can get the first refugee champion. I'm all about that shit. So, but shout out to Brooks and Steve and I think Glory's in the chat too. I'm supposed to be linking up with Glory a little bit later. So the whole, MCSC's fams in here. So in case, by the way, if you missed the beginning of the video, everybody, Trace is our newest member of the MCSC network. Go follow her on Twitter. I'm sure most of you already do. You're getting your start. When are you starting your YouTube channel? Did you already start one?
I was actually waiting for Rockfin. I just am not very confident I'll last on YouTube long, but
that's why you should make one. It'd be fun.
Okay. All right. We're gonna do a countdown until they get me the fuck on out of there.
Yeah. I mean, you'll. So the reason we have YouTube really at this point is literally to promote Rockfin. That's the only reason we have it, because they're gonna come after, like, the algorithm, like in Google and shit, are going to start coming after at Rockfin. YouTube actually already does. If we use a Rockfin link in our like community tabs or whatever, we use it to promote. They started hitting those posts, like, and knocking them out the algorithm, so that our people don't even get the notifications when we post them. Yeah, I found that shit out recently.
I mean, that makes sense,
But so, like, really quick, while everybody's here, I want to talk about 10 more minutes, but let people know while we're here where they can find you on TikTok and Instagram and on Twitter.
On my Twitter is Skye Daddy. Skye Daddy _Skye _Daddy. IG is Skye Zaddy, and TikTok is also Skye Zaddy. But you gotta get those TikTok videos quick, because they be taking them off.
What do you? So give me an example of what one video got taken down from TikTok.
Which was a video that got taken down last? One, I think, was the video where I was telling I think because I said cuck. I was calling all the people who were like,
"Oh, cuck."
Yeah,
cup. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like two girls, one cup. I'm like, oh, maybe you said that. Like, that would be a good reason.
Because they're always like, what are you gonna do about poverty? You can't do better than AOC. And I was like, that's stupid as fuck. I don't have a fucking government budget, and I don't get paid.
Also, you don't get paid almost $200,000 a year too.
Exactly, and all the other fucking money they get. But yeah. I mean, fuck. But I guess I said cuck too much. I don't fucking know. But they took that shit down last.
Cuck is not a cuss word though.
I know, what the fuck? Motherfuckers are sensitive as fuck
Well,
about their
white dudes, because like white dudes basically get called cuck for the most part, and they, white dudes is kind of sensitive. Y'all know y'all kind of sensitive, man. Steve, especially Steve and Pasta, man, y'all the most. Only because Steve's in the chat, I had to make sure he knew I was talking about him if he is still here. But in all seriousness, they anything as crazy as it sounds, anything that could be taken offensively by a white woman or a white guy, like that shit gets taken down faster than being called like the N-word. Like, I'm not even joking. I've seen it happen.
There's so much fucked up shit on TikTok towards fucking Black people, but you fucking offend. That's just bullshit, though. Like, I can't believe people can't see that shit. Like, I'm not even fucking hating. Like, it is what it is. But that's fucking bullshit. They fucking let so much shit get away on TikTok.
It's like the Stop Asian Hate thing. So I was having a pretty riveting conversation with my friend earlier today because she's Chinese and she actually was experiencing racism, not only from white people, but a level of prejudice that was coming from a Black person as well. But I was explaining there's a difference. And I was like, you have to understand, this Stop Asian Hate thing is good, like, because we should be fighting against like racism and prejudice if where we can. But where the difference with the Black community regarding that particular issue is that we dealt with the racism from the East Asian community in ways that no one else has dealt with it. Like, for example, I was traumatized, and my ex was traumatized because when I was 17 years old, my ex's father, who was Korean, forced her to break up with me and was going to put her up for fucking, like, put her in a foster home if she didn't do it. Not because for no, and I mind you, I was just like a super nerd in fucking high school. I was a nerd. I did debate. I mean, I was like from the hood, but I was like, I was a nerd. I had like a 4.2 GPA. I did debate. I was best friends with her older brother. So it wasn't like the family didn't trust me. I was coaching her little sister in soccer. Her family loved me. And that was a problem. Cause like, how dare y'all love a Black man in my goddamn house? And literally, she had not been able to hold a real long-term relationship ever since then. And she's 32 now.
Damn.
Yeah. And I had my issues like when I was young, because it was like anytime that I felt my exes were making a decision based off of their parents who could potentially be racist, I would overreact because of the trauma that I had experienced from, that particular East Asian person. And
so we got to I really have a podcast of mine that talks about interracial dating because I have some interracial trauma too. And I just really helps hearing like other people talk about this shit. Like, I know I'm crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a real thing, like, especially because I'm mixed. So like there's that. And I'm Caribbean. So like there's like a unique experience for the diaspora that we have to deal with, because even like I've experienced, obviously it's not racism, but like type of prejudice, like even with Black women when we initially meet, for some reason, I rub them the wrong way. And it's like, they're immediately standoffish. Now, eventually over time, they're like, oh, actually you're cool as fuck. But there is that initial, like, well, that we're friends at that point. There is no chance for a relationship by that point, and it's usually like several months later that they realize, oh shit, maybe I kind of like misjudged you because I don't engage in the same way as maybe people who were born and raised like in the South, who are just African-American and, have generations of African-American family members here. So there's a lot, there's a lot of interracial dating trauma out there, I'm sure, that never gets discussed because people don't want to, I guess, talk about it.
Yeah. And for real, and I would say even with dating your own race, I have very specific situations of dating, because most of the women I dated was darker skin. So I've seen colorism and how it affects darker skinned women. And I think I really am trying to figure out a way I'm not trying to shame people about colorism, but it's a fucking problem. So
we should definitely shame people for colorism. That's fucked.
I'm trying to maybe we all have preference. I think really people do not understand how deep-seated colorism is. So like even in fucking race things, I have situations that I learned from that are like, wow, the world's fucked up for real. One thing is the aggressiveness shit. I always want to say this shit. It just fucking happened the other day. Fucking darker skinned women, they always say darker skinned women are aggressive. They always see darker skinned people.
Yep.
And everyone last one, my relationship with darker skinned women, I was clearly the more aggressive one. I was clearly like, they were way more friendly and sociable, but people would always try to direct to me safe choice. And they would imply just through the way they would act that she was the more, aggressive one.
Person, yeah.
I know, and I'm crazy as fuck. I'm like, this person gentle as fuck. If anything, they're defensive because they're always getting attacked and people always make an assumption. So sometimes they're defensive, but they're not fucking aggressive. They're just trying to fucking protect the little sanity they have left. So exactly. I mean, dramatic.
We see it on, like, we see it even in our industry, right? Like, at the end of the day, to the level of privilege that you and I probably have just from being more fair skinned and having quote unquote, you know, what's it called? Softer quote unquote features than, you know, somebody like Rome who was getting disproportionately attacked and bombarded. I mean, don't get me wrong, like being black on Twitter is just, that happens to you. But I noticed even the way Rome will get treated versus like the rest of us in the black community, how he'll get like the way they go. It's because like it would make sense if they attacked like me at that time. I'm like, you know, I'm well known in the community. Like I have a platform. Like Rome is just some dude on Twitter just literally walking around the fucking country feeding poor people.
Feeding people.
Like what the fuck? And they're trying to, and you got people going at him in a way where they're not being specific about why they don't like him. They vague tweet and they know people will pick up on the dog whistle and jump on him because it's not like they're gonna go at him directly. It's not like y'all gonna link up with the man. I know y'all motherfuckers ain't gonna link up with Rome because Rome will stomp a fucking mud hole in y'all. Like, but y'all also know the reason that Rome is stomping a mud hole on y'all, and Rome can be embraced because Rome's been through it because of how he fucking looks. Like I've been through it, just like you've been through it. And so you even see the colorism of just the way if I get on camera, someone will listen to me quicker initially than they will listen to Rome, because just like with all black people, when you get on camera, people are looking for a reason not to listen to you initially. Yeah. Unless you're talking about race, and then they'll pretend to care what you have to say and then forget what you had to say as soon as you get off the fucking camera. But but with Rome, it took a while for his message to catch fire because like Rome's well-spoken. Like he's not like a professional public speaker, but he's well-spoken enough. He's educated enough on these issues. And he's literally always talking about fuck the government. Let's go do this shit as a community. And he then goes and does this shit. And it still took a while for that message to catch traction. But if a white person did what Rome is doing right now, they would have 1 million fucking followers.
Exactly. But they will always find a problem. They fucking always try to find something or bring up some old shit like people can't fucking grow or some bullshit. And they try to do that shit without, like, bro.
They try to say he made some like anti-gay tweet like what 5 years ago.
Exactly. Like, bitch, we're from the fucking hood. Like, I was in the fucking, I starved. I know this motherfucker fucking from the hood too. Like, we did not have a woke coach, you bitches. We didn't have no woke coach. We're trying to fucking survive. And you want to look, this is not politically correct. Shut the fuck up.
You gotta take into account the white evangelical patriarchy. There is because of black people's need to survive in a white system, especially when you're talking about in the South or in like conservative black families, they try to out-white white dudes, right? So like where black men or white guys, especially evangelical ones, are like homophobic, black men always feel like they gotta do, oh no, I'm gotta be extra homophobic because otherwise you'll be perceived as being less masculine, you'll be perceived as being potentially gay, et cetera, et cetera. Just like with fucking church, everybody, like white Baptists gotta go crazy at church, go to a black Baptist church. I dare you. We dancing. It is Club Jesus in there because it's always the one step above just to stay to stay in the good graces of a system that rewards acting like a white person and embracing their culture and their ideology. And so a lot of black people have broken out of that, you know, but it's not for nothing. I was never homophobic, but that's because like literally my mom's side of the family, like there's basically all of her cousins are gay. It's just all the males are gay, which is like super weird. But that's actually how I started to realize that it might be more hereditary than people had thought at the time. But I also saw my friends be homophobic. And it wasn't until we started really dismantling all the different ways that the patriarchy was conditioning us that we started checking each other openly. Like in our group chat, somebody would say, oh man, that's just gay, like to use as an insult. And then somebody was like, well, why they got to be gay? I don't understand. Was that making a bad thing? Like, why is it a bad thing to be gay? And they were like, you know what? Oh, fuck, my bad. I don't know why I said that. And they would correct themselves. And that's what is needed. But that doesn't mean Rome's a bad person because it's something he said 5 years ago. Motherfucker, Lyndon B. Johnson was racist as fuck signing the shit out of those civil rights amendments.
I know. Look at fucking what fucking Joe Biden did, but they fucking forgot about that shit.
Mm-hmm. He didn't. He's still racist as shit.
Hell yeah. I mean, this nigga said literally, if you, I will never forgive these niggas. This motherfucker, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. The most low-brow pandering. He's just lazy. Like, he didn't even fucking want to lie to you niggas. He just like, vote for me, you're not black.
Not even laziness. He was what he was doing was reminding us of our place.
Exactly. Like, exactly. I was with Obama. I already got the fucking black vote. Remember, your blackness has to be proved through me, Joe Biden. And if you don't, wow. And then people voted for that nigga. When I think about that aspect of it, I'm still kind of in awe. Like, wow, this is where we're at.
Yep. And I remember I got in a fight with two white girls at one's Palestinian technically, but there's like the darker skinned Palestinians and then like literally white Palestinians, and she was on the white side. And they basically were asking me, well, who would you rather run the world if the world there's going to be an empire anyway, the United States or China? I was like, first of all, that's a dumb question. Like, just in general, like I would prefer neither be an imperialist country. Two, I'm like, I'm not going to answer that because you're asking a black man who would he rather run the country, like China, who I have no experience with on a personal level in any way, or the country that just decided that maybe Joe Biden didn't win the election, but they are perfectly fine with the segregationists running the fucking country and effectively the world.
Exactly.
Like, and it's just a thing. Like, we just saw them brag about the quote unquote most diverse primary in history, and then out of that they're like, yeah, but we're still going to nominate segregationists because the country is still at some level okay with it. He has not shown in any way that he is going to be different than what he was, and people were still okay with it. And yet you want me to choose between the country that is telling me my life is not my life, my struggles and plight of people who look like me of the past that were directly affected by Joe Biden's policies. Like, literally, I've been personally affected by Joe Biden's policies.
Exactly.
Like, and they're like, oh, wow, are you calling me a racist? I'm like, what? How the fuck did you get you're a racist out of don't ask me whether or not I support a segregationist nation, because I like that just doesn't make any sense. But it immediately turns into, oh, so I'm the victim now.
Exactly. Oh, well, shit. We'll save that for the interracial podcast, because victimizing white women, do I have some stories on that one?
Yeah, like it's a thing, right? And obviously, if any of y'all like watch our tweets or see her content, like y'all know we don't really deal with the ID politics shit. Like, we don't play that shit. But at the same time, and this is what I always tell people, like, if you want me to be real about what's happening in Israel and Palestine, if you want me to be real about the 94 crime bill, if you want to be real about how, about the criminal justice system, if you want to be real about being anti-war and telling the truth where it's uncomfortable to tell the truth in those matters, then like race is not excluded from that motherfucker. Like, because if the system perpetuates lies about all this other shit, then how are we not going to acknowledge they will perpetuate lies about the systemic racism that is still inherent in our system?
Exactly. You got to keep it real. I think there's a fucking balance between like hating white people and blaming the white working class person for everything. But that doesn't mean I'm going to shut up about facts. Like, it's facts. You know, I can't fucking shelter your white feelings, but I'm not going to also shame you for, like I said, it's both. Now, I know they put out information to white people to try and divide us. And they do the same.
They're victims of propaganda too.
Exactly. And there you go. They're victim of propagandas. And I try to see that and understand that. And I don't hate them for that. But I also can't pander and forget a big fucking problem, especially when there's so many people who are fucking suffering because of.
I know, and you be doing a very good job about the police shit, right? And that's the point you bring up, a point that I bring up often, even to my conservative friends. I'm like, y'all can't be this anti-government and be this pro-police. It doesn't work.
Doesn't make sense. And you know the government is trying. It's like the government. They'll be like, the government's trying to divide us. The media's trying to divide us. But the fucking lapdog for the government and media, the fucking police, aren't purposely trying to divide us as well. Like, yeah, they're oppressing every fucking body, but there's also, they know they can get away with it more with fucking Black people. And they can. This has been proven, therefore they do it. So it's not that I think fucking every fucking police never fucking, oppress working class white people, because they fucking do.
They do, right? But
it's a different issue.
But they also, but it's a different issue. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's what people don't get. I mean, it's like a different issue within the same umbrella, right?
Exactly.
It's policing institutions are bad because any institution that is perpetuated and maintained and defended and funded by the government is generally a bad institution, especially if it's an authoritarian one. They are fascist security guards. When Trump celebrates the police the way he did, and then Biden turns around and does the same thing, why are you because everything else that Biden supports, y'all have been avidly against. So in every other policy that Biden has talked about, because y'all motherfuckers were quick to talk about 94 crime bill and how much damage it did to the Black community, which is a factual statement and a factual opinion and a half. But also now we acting like that crime bill isn't still a part of the corrupt policing institution that we're seeing today. Inconvenient.
The inconsistency.
Bruh, right. Motherfucker, Blue Lives Matter. Like, Joe Biden is the reason Blue Lives Matter is a thing. And people don't get that. And
he signed that one fucking, Blue Shield, the blue fucking, that, whatever that bill was to protect the fucking police. They're the fucking Blue Act or some shit. And he fucking signed it while he was in office. And he could have did shit to help the military, and destroy the military fucking industrial fucking prison complex. And this nigga signed a fucking bill to fund the police more and to fucking give people more time if they fucking.
After telling us we didn't have enough money to give out more checks during COVID, by the way.
Crazy as fuck, y'all.
It's like that's the real, y'all. Like you don't like the real. Don't pretend like you want to hear the real and all the other shit. But if you don't want to hear the real about COVID, then you don't want to hear the real. You want to hear the real you're comfortable with because it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect the circles you're running because you're already running, what Steve, I like Steve and everybody, they call it like limited hangouts where they set these parameters of conversation, these false parameters of conversations based off of what they're comfortable in and what's acceptable. But like you said, when we're talking about how the police treat Black people because they're Black, also how they treat poor white people because they're poor and they can't fight back, then why are we not talking about the fact that police are being funded by the same government that the left supposedly doesn't like and the right supposedly doesn't like? Why is that not the conversation rather than, or at least in addition to, whether or not the police are racist? Because you could still not think the police is inherently racist, which would be wrong. But say you don't believe that, then fine. Let's not even talk about that then. Let's talk about the fact that you know how fucked this government is. You know how fucked the tools are. And the mechanism they use are to keep people like us silent, to threaten and intimidate people like us, and then you still will say, "But this particular institution I support." It doesn't make any sense. Nope. Keep it consistent, bro. That's all we asking. And because we got fucking Trace on the network now, the heat's about to get turned up even more so. So. Thank you, Skye. Well, I don't know. What do you want people to call you? Do you want people to call you Trace? Or do you want people to call you Skye?
It's Skye.
She wants y'all to call her Skye. Only we can call her Trace. So
exactly.
So make sure to go follow her. Like I said, on Twitter, it's Skye with the Y with the E. So SKYE.
Yeah, _ daddy. Skye daddy.
TikTok
Skye Zaddy. No space, Skye, SKYE, Zaddy, and then same for Instagram.
With a Z, Skye Zaddy. Because, Zaddy. When you're on Instagram, it's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Like some of y'all call me daddy on Twitter, but some of y'all call me Zaddy on Instagram. If you follow me there, by the way, you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Jimmy Hen Drip, okay? Jimmy Hen Drip, like Hennessy, but just one N. I think it's one N. Yeah, it's Jimmy, Jimmy Drip. By the way, it's supposed to be ironic because my brother nicknamed me that because everybody used to say I look like Jimi Hendrix whenever, just not used to. They still say that based off of my clothing attire. But they started calling me that like to talk shit in my group chat. And so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to make my Twitter name Jimi Hendrix. So follow me on Instagram too because we be having a lot of fun on there. When the fuck is you coming down?
To what,
You
Miami?
down the street, yeah.
Man, I used to come every month to get tattoos, and I just been so fucking busy. But I
Who
really
you get
need,
tatted by?
huh?
Who you get tatted by?
Lador. He's at a live ink.
Does he do good color tats?
Hell no, I have the plug on the best fucking artist. Like, I'm for real. I'm
trying to get this shit done like next week.
Yo, I'm gonna fucking try and link you up with him. When I tell you this man does amazing work. Are you doing realism or traditional, or what are you doing?
This is just gonna be I'm getting nothing or everything or nothing, and then like some shit on the outside of it. Like, but yeah, this I'm actually getting this whole thing done as a Marvel piece. I'm getting it covered up because I want more color in it. I just wanted to, something new. It's like doing new shit. I actually want to get, like, even before I start this, I'm gonna get the Infinity Gauntlet on here. I'm getting like the Infinity Stones. Yeah.
What?
You know what I'm saying? All these motherfuckers are talking shit for the last 2 years. And like, after they had been proven wrong time and time again, where did that bring them? Back to me. Because I'm inevitable.
So humble. Same energy, yo. Same vibe. This is why
I am humble. That don't mean you know what I'm saying. I'm humble, but I still talk my shit. Like, y'all motherfuckers had me stressed, got me in motherfucking gray hairs and shit. For like, I'm 32 goddamn years old. I've had gray hair since I was 26 because y'all motherfuckers. Okay, like, well, gray hair in my beard. I've had gray hair in my head my entire, like, basically since I was 7. So y'all can't see it because I'm blind, but
I'm stressed out.
Fucking stressed, man. Because we out here just trying to save the world, man. That's all we do. I went homeless over this shit, bro. And I ain't the only one. My team, half of my damn team has been homeless at some point for this, to do this shit. And not like on, camera too, but like in the streets, fighting for policy. Like, I've advised healthcare policy. I started lawsuits to get the Democratic Party to hold people accountable. I've tried to hold people accountable, and a lot of my team has, but we've also put forth positive initiatives. And all these motherfuckers want to do is talk shit on Twitter and try to denigrate us and delegitimize what we're doing for no other reason other than to uphold the establishment that they supposedly want to take down. And like, it's just stressful, bro. It's stressful.
Yeah, y'all better than me. y'all make y'all choices. Y'all be good though. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
Nah, we ain't better. We be talking shit, we be holding down. But like, the moment that somebody comes from one of the squad, you know what I'm saying? Like, we shut that shit down. We chop their hands off.
I know shit. Ever since, I swear to God, I guess the people who heard about me joining the network, they had some shit to say because they're either tagging fucking you and being like, why'd you fucking tag her? Or they're fucking going under my tweets and be like, this is who you joined. And they're like putting like shit with you and Fiorella. Really? I'm like, look, shut the fuck up. I don't give a shut
up. They're saying this is what you joined. They just put random video. I mean, me and Fiorella videos are all great though. Like, I feel like,
they're just putting like, this is who you joined, and they're doing like screenshots and stuff of fucking shit and
of the shit you agree with. You're like, oh damn, thanks for letting me know. I didn't know they felt like this. Thank you.
Right? I brush it. I knew y'all was about it.
They you know what they don't want, honestly. So we out here. MCSU network is like the motherfucking United Nations. And that's by the way, not by design. That literally, we just went and got the best talent we can find. And if you do that job correctly, you have no choice but to have a diverse network. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of Black women that have been given platforms, that have been given the space to grow and develop into the personalities that, that they, because they're, like you got Twitter clout, and like, that's great. And eventually you'll probably get Instagram clout. But, a lot of it's because you're pretty, a lot of it's because you're controversial, but you shouldn't even have to be that. You should just be able to be right. Because you see these mediocre white women getting 50, 60,000 followers from saying what?
Fucking.
Oh my God, the system is so bad. Oh, you're so brave. Oh. But then you come into this space, everybody talks about how much they uplift and support Black people. Then I tell people all the time, like, if you want to know to the extent the progressive movement has been whitewashed, ask yourself how many Black women have popular independent platforms, especially the Black women that don't exclusively talk about Black issues.
Name a dark-skinned one.
There isn't one. Not that. I mean, at least not once again. There may be in Black Twitter, in Black YouTube, like, exactly. Yeah, but that unfortunately is, I don't want to say it's an echo chamber per se, but like Black people already know what the fuck our issues are.
Exactly. It is an echo chamber, but a lot of them, they want it that way. And I'm just like, I honestly think there's supposed to be people who on the left are Black people who are just never going to be able to be about that unity movement, and right as well. There's supposed to be, people like us who easier get along with people on the right and white people, but we still understand the issues that we have individually as Black people, so we can work together. Because some people, they're just they're just going to need too much validation of their struggle. And for me, I don't give a fuck. Like, if you want to get rid of the police, I don't care if it's because you think they're oppressing everyone evenly, or if you think they're oppressing Black people.
Exactly. You want to get rid of them? Bet. I don't care if you want guns because, like, I just like shooting in the backyard, like going hunting. I feel like I defend myself. I just really like riding around in tanks. Like, I don't give a fuck what reason you want Second Amendment absolutism like myself. Same thing with First Amendment. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. Like, you want to call me the N-word in the street? Now, don't get it twisted. There's some consequences that might come with that. But I mean, in the consequences, you can probably get your ass whooped. But hey, bro, I'm gonna fight for your right to say that shit. And as long as you won't accept the ass whooping that comes next, do your thing, dog. But like, I'm not gonna tell you that you try to use the government to make sure you can't say shit. Because at the end of the day, like, bro, I'm sick with the words. Like, if you want to have a rhetorical battle, like, we can have this conversation, and that's how free speech should be what defeats free speech. It shouldn't be the government, because the government will never stop there, as we are seeing right now, how they're trying to use the January 6th incident to shut all conversation down, to label anybody domestic terrorist, which we knew was going to happen, which is why I used to tell my conservative friends, like, stop trying to encourage Trump to label BLM a terrorist organization, because that's not for us. That's for y'all dumbasses. It is for you.
They're so stupid. Like, what else going to happen when the fucking pro-gun control bait fucking comes? They come for the guns. They fucking implement lockdowns. What the fuck are you going to do? What about fucking
right now?
Passports?
What are we seeing right now? Now MAGA is a terrorist organization, basically, is what they're labeling them. So now what? So now, and they even put out a provision that said if they see that BLM or quote unquote Antifa, even though that's a whole different conversation, or in Proud Boys, all conjugating in the same space, that's considered a terrorist group now. That's based off of legislation, which was always their fucking plan. Because at the end of the day, maybe not, like, Tario's a fucking Fed, like the guy, the leader of the Proud Boys, like, which I already knew. And like, obviously I have a problem with this modern day Antifa, because it is absolutely not the Antifa of old. It's a CIA op, just like the Proud Boys were. However, there are individuals now from these three groups that may believe in the ideology, even though they may not know their origins, that would work together because they are firmly anti-government. And they would organize together, and you would start to see a rainbow coalition, the likes of what Fred Hampton and the Black Panthers created. And the reason that you assassinate in broad daylight a 21-year-old Black man is because the rainbow coalition not only worked, it was effective, and it was something that could have ended the way that we see each other and the way that there are politicians and institutions being protected by us through the individualization of each of those groups.
Exactly. That's insane. You have to send me that exact law where they're saying Magna and these people are like.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna send that shit to you. I covered it. Because I was like, fucking told y'all, this is what it was always about.
I said that same shit as soon as fucking they started with the fucking DeSantis anti-riot bill and the president that is setting and all the different states.
Fuck off. Because I'm like, bro, that's totally unnecessary. But I think that, honestly, because it's not gonna, the courts are gonna kill it, and he knows that. But I think DeSantis is gonna run for president. That's why he did it.
Oh yeah.
And he's looking, and at times he looks a little bit too leftist for conservatives liking. I'm not even joking. I mean, shit, you're out here. I mean, I ain't gonna stunt. Y'all, DeSantis handled COVID better than any fucking governor in the country. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell y'all, but he did.
I don't have much good things to say about DeSantis. I really don't. But let me tell you, yes, I am 100% agreement as someone who, I don't know, didn't want to starve during lockdown forever.
I know. I mean, shit, that's people gotta, you're a trainer, people. She going to the gym is how she makes her fucking money. Can't make no money if there ain't no gyms open.
Exactly. Massage therapy, doing remote. Like,
doing them house calls, don't play. He was out here charging that extra. Like, hey, you only make these house calls. First of all, I'm not wearing a mask. Also, you got to pay more.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. That's things are going good now. We'll say that. Like, I'm just dishing out of poverty. Like, we're we're literally seeing it as right now. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah. And once again, and we got to give partial credit to Ron DeSantis for putting people in a position to be autonomous with their decisions. And like, at the end of the day, that's what I want. Like, I don't have to like Ron DeSantis, but I can appreciate the fact that he isn't over paternalistic.
Yeah, exactly. Though that fucking anti-riot bill, ooh,
Yeah, that was fucking dumb.
That I can't believe. But I really fucking appreciate how he handled this shit, because if not, things would be way worse in Florida economically.
Yes. And these kids, man, like just if you got like kids or you got nieces and nephews, you saw the way that these kids were being affected by not being in school. Like, it was fucking with them in ways that I just never would have predicted. And not being around your friends, there's a routine that you like if you remember back in elementary school and middle school, like there's a routine that you kind of get into. There's like, you look forward to seeing your friends, you look forward to those experiences every day, even though you might not like school all that much. You look forward to the structure. And when you don't have that structure, that's how kids fall behind, get left behind. Like, that's why people who bounce from home to home or school to school, they don't ever end up becoming successful in school, because you just have to have continuity. And there was none. These parents were either working on and off, they were not working at all, so their money was getting messed up, and they're forced to move from home to home, whatever. Like, you're going to this person's house instead. You can't go to the library, so you can't find a quiet place to work. When I was poor, the quiet place that I worked was at school or the library. So if I couldn't go there, I'm not sitting here right now. And a lot of kids weren't able to go there, and a lot of kids are probably, even though they passed everybody, at least in Florida, they passed everybody anyway. But that doesn't mean they're not going to get held back this year.
Yeah. They'll let you pass until you're a fucking illiterate senior. I've seen it over and over again. It's insane. Our school system's insane.
Yeah, my middle school was crazy though. Well, they weren't crazy. It was kind of somewhat justified. Like, I got in trouble for fighting. I got suspended too many times. And they were like, yeah, we know you passed all your integrate tests and all that shit. We don't care. They were just trying to teach me a lesson. I'm like, oh, motherfuckers. Yeah, I'm thankful for it though. I'm glad I got held back. It was a wake-up call. It's like, no, you can't do whatever you want all the time, Niko. Even if you're defending people, you got to do it the right way.
At least you finished. I did not make it. I went to one of those schools.
Continuation schools?
Whatever.
The continuation education schools? Yeah.
Yep. A continuing education schools, because I got kicked out the fucking district. And
whole district?
Yeah. And then
fighting.
Yeah. But it used to fuck with me. Like, I literally was not. I was a timid, docile person in life. I got that beat out of me. I used to be the sweetest little girl. Like, I was avoidant. I didn't want no problems. I just wanted to be left alone. And life did this to me. And I'm happy too, because fuck that bitch. She was scary. But anyway.
I was never scary like that. But my brother talked a lot of shit that his ass couldn't catch. His Ralach. At the time, he was like 80 pounds. That ass, you could see his heartbeat through his chest. But we were poor. We were famished, y'all. I didn't even hit my growth spurt until I was in the military. I didn't grow up to be 6'1" until I was like 23 or 24. My brother was 5'11" when he graduated, went to the Navy and went to basic training in A school, came out and was 6'2". So Navy? Like,
You were in the Navy?
My brother is, yup.
Yeah.
He's up in Virginia. He was stationed in Miami before that, man. He was depressed for a little minute when he had to go back to Virginia. Oh man.
Go back to fucking he's in Norfolk?
Yeah, he's in Norfolk. Yep. He was in Oceana and got stationed in Norfolk.
Man, tell him I'm sorry.
Tell him oh yeah, he I'll tell him. He knows. He almost quit the Navy, like, because he's like, bro, I'm not fucking leaving Miami. I'll fucking quit. I'm like, you can't just quit, bro. Like, you gotta, bro, I don't give a, I'll fucking go AWOL. Like, fuck these people. I don't want to leave. That I'm like, dog, like Miami like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Miami is absolutely like that. I'm never fucking leaving y'all. I'm never goddamn leaving. It's the best place ever. Everybody's minding their fucking business and life is like just doing cool shit with other people. Like, I cannot like. I probably, if I saw a person from Miami on Twitter, I'll probably not like their ass. Then I see them in person, and we're like, damn, bro, you actually cooler than I fucking thought, dog. Like, because everybody's cooler when you're fucking drunk all the time. You drunk and getting a bunch of sunlight. Everybody's fucking cool. Never leaving. Yeah. So my brother had to peace out, and he's like, man, I'm like, Quinn, you got like a son, bro. You probably shouldn't go AWOL. Like, his healthcare gonna be a little affected. Yeah. But I feel him. But he used to write checks his ass couldn't cash, and my dad taught me at a very young age, like, if your brother gets in the fight, you get in the fight. I'm like, hold up, but what if it's one-on-one? If your brother gets into a fight, then that means you're fighting. I'm like, are you? I'm like, oh, that's how it's supposed to work, Dad. He's like, if you're okay, so what I'm gonna tell you, your brother get into a fight, you gonna beat the person's ass, or I'm gonna beat your ass. Well, you know what? That's all I need to know. And I tell you, I'm not getting my ass whooped. I mean, even when my mom and dad was separated, my mom would call my dad sometimes, and like I ain't want no. If there was a phone call and it was all quit and got into a fight, and if that's where the conversation just stopped, like not Niko whooped the other person's ass, my dad would have flew from California to beat my ass. I was convinced. And because it was just like that he had 4 brothers. And when you're from the hood, you know, like that loyalty, people need to see what you're willing to do to defend yours. And people don't know that.
That's not a fucking joke either. Like people really don't understand like the reason that some people might be certain ways that were from the hood. Like if you show weakness, that shit will follow you every fucking day. You have to deal with shit. You can't let anything fucking slide.
Every year in high school, the first person that disrespected me, I went out and talk, and usually it's always somebody want to call me a bitch. And that's like the worst thing to call me because I'm working on it. I go to therapy now, so I'm trying not to snap whenever I hear that shit. Even like, because even jokingly, I wouldn't let people call me that shit. Somebody will always call me a bitch at the beginning of the year. And I'd be like, hold up, really quick, what did you say? And they're like, you heard me, bitch, nigga. Okay, so I'm gonna go to this debate practice real quick. I'm gonna meet you after school though. I'm not gonna fight you here because I'm gonna get kicked off the debate team. My mom gonna fuck me up, and like I really like debate, so I'm gonna find you after school though. I want you to keep that same energy. And they all like, oh, ha 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 ha. I'm like smiling, and I'm like, oh, but I'm dead ass serious. Like, no, I'm gonna come find you because they would always think because people knew where I was from, but they didn't really know what neighborhood I was from because of me doing all the other stuff. And so when we would pull up, we pulled up 6 cars deep. It was a fucking spectacle. I'm dragging their ass all over and I make them fucking apologize in front of everybody. Literally say, I am sorry, Niko. I shouldn't have done that before I would stop beating their ass. And I would never get, me nor my siblings would ever get fucked with for the rest of the year. I found out a couple of years ago that everybody used to think me and my brother was crazy. Like, maybe we were, I don't know. But but that's what you got to do, bro. Like, and it's fucking sad, but you know, it is what it is. That's why we out here trying to fight so that people don't have to grow up with that type of anxiety and fear.
Exactly, because that shit stays with you for real.
It does. The trauma of it stays with you. I didn't really stop fighting like that until 3 years ago, maybe. I remember I like knocked the motherfucker out while I was at UNC. I was the president of Carolina Sisters for Bernie at that point. I knocked the motherfucker out at a party because like my Tongsang, which is like Korean little sister, whatever, we used to go to church together, whatever. And at UNC, Koreans always wanted to go to UNC or Duke or Harvard. And so a lot of my friends that I went to church with or grew up with were at UNC. She was throwing a party and some motherfucker she asked everybody to leave because it's getting rowdy. And he was disrespecting her because she's a little Asian girl. And she was like, well, I'm going to have to ask you to leave or like, I'm going to get my oppa, which is like big brother. And of course he's like, oh, you going to get your fucking Korean ass. He's some black dude. Like, and he's like, you going to get your Korean ass older brother. Okay, fucking fine. So she's like, oppa. She goes, Niko oppa. I'm like, what's up? Come outside. And obviously it's fucking me. And at this point at UNC, I was like 240 pounds. Like, cause I just lifted a lot of weights. I used to go to the gym like 2 or 3 times a day at that point. And I walked out and this motherfucker's like, I'm like, so what are you saying to her? You're not going to do what now? And then his friend was like, bitch, we're not going nowhere. You heard us. And I said, hold up, what the fuck you just said to me? And then Ginger just walks, she's like, uh-oh, I'm going inside. Because she knew what time it was. And he said, bitch, knocks him the fuck out. Everybody's like, yo, what the fuck? And somebody, I hear, hold up, ain't that the president for Carolina Sisters for Bernie? I'm like, you goddamn right, it's me, motherfucker. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. Hey, man.
I thought y'all was peaceful, man.
Yeah, I am peaceful. I'm a peaceful motherfucker. I like I'm a peacekeeper. I mean, I'm peaceful.
That part.
So I had to slow down, man. I had to slow down because you can't keep getting lucky. I'm a very calculated motherfucker. I'm like, bro, one day I'm gonna catch the hands. I need to chill the fuck out. Like one day. It ain't caught up to you, but there's always somebody bigger. Shit. But you know, when your friends are like D1 football players, like my niggas are always bigger than the bouncer. So probably won't ever happen to me, but I didn't want to take the chance. So I had to chill out a little bit, man. I'm getting old. Somebody Somebody say, why don't progressives talk about Bitcoin? I don't know what progressives you talking about, but we always talking about cryptocurrency on this show. Love me some cryptocurrency. We need to talk about that too, because that's a game changer. Decentralized currency is exactly how Black people will catch the fuck up.
Yeah, well, then you're gonna have to hit me about that offline because I'm definitely trying to get in.
Yeah, for sure. And we gonna do me, you, and Steve, and probably Fiorella Pasta and Johnny too. We gonna have a shroom show. We just gonna do a show. Gonna get high. I ain't microdosing, bro. I don't do microdosing, but I get high on shrooms because my people's don't dilate. It's already hard enough for me to get high on shrooms as it is. So yeah, I know my brain's fucking crazy. My brain chemistry is wild. I did DMT the other day. And shit was good. It was straight. But that experience that everybody else said they had, whatever that regular dose is, was not enough for me. It was like, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, but this ain't really what I thought it was supposed to be. My brain chemistry is fucking weird. So I'm trying to do a show where we just talk a bunch of shit on shrooms.
Hey man, I'm down. I'm definitely gonna microdose because me and psychedelics, we sensitive, but I'm down with that shit. So to me.
We sensitive. Oh, y'all, you done had some experience.
Hell, I'm just not a psych. Like I done did a lot, and I've been a lot of drugs, but I've always been like very respectful of psychedelics. Like straight up.
Oh shit, that's funny.
Like, I really have been.
That's what I talk about my motorcycles. I'm like, man, I respect my motorcycle. I ain't popping no fucking wheelie on that bitch. You lost your mind. If he wanted to pop a wheelie, we'll have one wheel. I'm not popping no goddamn wheelie. I'm buying a Hayabusa. That bitch is gonna go 70 miles per hour at the max. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably gonna go a little bit faster than that. I ain't gonna do that. But I ain't the type of motherfucker that be out here just testing the water like that. And I feel you. If you gotta know your body. You know what I'm saying? But
exactly.
Nah, me and Steve probably gonna get high as fuck though, because we do shrooms live.
Oh yeah, I know about my nigga Steve, yo.
Stevie on it, bro. Stevie on it. Yeah, why y'all think the MCSC network is be ahead of the game all the time, bro? We be having these shroom visions, and we're like, they just shroom be telling us where to go. Like, man, hey, that person full of shit. Real talk, I had that shit happen where I realized how full of shit someone was, because when I'm on shrooms, like I'm a generally an objective person, but when I'm on shrooms, that shit is amp. I'm like completely removed from my body. So all my preconceived notions, any predisposition I might have had towards somebody, that's just gone. It's like I'm seeing it for what it is based off of objective analysis. I'm like, yo, this person's actually fucking toxic as fuck. And we found out that they were actually a mole.
Wow.
That's true. Off of the shrooms is when I called, like, yo, have y'all considered this? And they were like, yo, I never even thought about that. And then it turned out that the person was a fucking mole.
Shrooms be letting you know, man. The shrooms be telling you.
They be telling you, man. My shadow self, that's how I found out that the shadows have relationships, and nobody ever, like, no shadow research talks about the relationship between shadows. And it was my shadow while I was on shrooms told me about the shit.
Well, I mean, everything happens on one level. So if our conscious sides have a relationship, then our unconscious side would have a relationship as well.
Exactly. Like when somebody could be really good friends with somebody, right? But then like you see them treat them some type of way, like in very specific circumstances and only those circumstances. Like maybe they're jealous of that friend when it comes to like so they go out, they're friends and they're good, and there's no jealousy between them until they go out to the club in a specific circumstance, and this type of guy is attracted to that person, or type of woman is attracted to that person, and this is something that maybe it's a type that this person likes but never gets when they're around their friend.
Yep.
And now you're treating them like shit, lying them about like, oh, that dude's ugly, that dude's that girl's she's a bitch, because, and it's not like they're even doing it consciously, because our shadow is more responsible for the decision we make more than our conscious selves. So it makes sense that shadows, because shadows can have relationships with other shadows can have relationships with conscious selves, with like, you know, in a good or a bad way. Like a shadow can like somebody that a conscious person would hate.
Exactly.
And it's never, but that's something I discovered while I was on shrooms too, because my shadow was mad at me because my inner child and my shadow loved the shadow and inner child of my ex. That's how we met, was like partying. It was like a different time in my life, and I started working a lot. I wasn't paying attention to my inner child, my shadow. I wasn't really, even when I was having fun, work and shit was still on my brain all the time. I was never really letting go of the shit, and my shadow was getting mad at me because I wasn't allowing my shadow to come out. And my ex's shadow would come out when she would black out and would fucking hate me, the conscious Niko. But if I was fucked up too, oh, does you love me? Even if she blacked out, she would still be because I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm actually having a great time and I'm not thinking about whatever. And when that shit stopped though, I was like, it was wild. I want to write a book about the shit that I have experienced and I didn't even realize what was happening until after I did like it's a shitload of shrooms and would because it's a different literally been a different theme every time I do shrooms. Every single time.
Thing about what my podcast and I talk about is like pretty much relationship with other people, things that I fucking did in the past that I noticed, shit that I fucking do now that I'm more conscious of that I still do sometimes. Like that's really like, oh, I'm so interested in that type of shit, especially how it involves with spirituality.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I became as a person who loved logic. That's actually how I got so involved in like examining more spirituality. And just the spiritual aspects of the universe, because shit logically wasn't making sense. I'm like, I don't know, it just shit wasn't making. I'm like, this doesn't make it. Why would a person do this? Like, why would?
You're crazy.
What you say?
I was an atheist most of my life, and this is how, and that's how I got into spirituality. Was I'm like, logically, with what I know as an atheist, this shit isn't making sense.
Mm-hmm. Facts. And I was never an atheist. I went to like a Korean Presbyterian church for 10 years and I stopped going because I felt like I was like seeing the inconsistencies in a lot of, religion in general. And I realized like studying Jesus as much as I did, I was like, Jesus doesn't seem like he would actually be down for a lot of this religious shit. Like, and he never actually talked about reading the Bible, like to the extent that the Bible is idolized at this point. Like he was never about that. I'm like, also, it seemed like Jesus is kind of just a Renaissance man and a scientist and a philosopher and was treated like that because literally every single Renaissance man in history who stands up to the system has always been treated like that. I'm pretty sure that whole like turning wheat into bread thing was like Jesus was a scientist who figured out how to make bread faster than the other people could. And he was revered because of it. All the feats that he was doing were considered miracles because all science is considered a miracle until it becomes fucking science and explained. And so he gained his respect through his scientific achievements, through his philosophy, and of course his consistency. And that made him dangerous because he was using that respect to stand up to the system and encourage other people to do the same.
Exactly. It's all about going inside. The kingdom is inside you, and he turned water into wine because Jesus was an alchemist. Like that's what I believe. Jesus was an alchemist, pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Like I believe he was like along the lines of like a Leonardo da Vinci, I won't say Victor Van Gogh as much, but like Leonardo da Vinci, who's another one that was like highly scrutinized. I don't know if you're familiar with Jose Marti he's like a Cuban revolutionary that he's actually responsible for the song Guantanamera. He wrote the poem that song was inspired by. Yeah, and he was like, but he was a revolutionary, but a poet and a mathematician also, and a philosopher. But like he died, he was like the first general to die during the Cuban Revolutionary War, and so like, but he was highly scrutinized because he used all the clout that he had gained from just being a great creator to tell people to rebel against the system. And people who are great at a lot of different things and garner that respect get treated like trash when you go against the establishment.
Exactly.
So shout out to Justin Jackson, man. We waiting for the motherfuckers to come on your head after, man, you better, I need you to just fuck these people up this season, bro. If you watching, I know you watch sometimes when you're not out here killing it yourself, but I need you to fuck up the game this year, bro. Run all over their ass, put up 1,200 yards, because I know with the shit that you've been putting out, the fire you've been putting out on YouTube lately. And by the way, go check out Justin Jackson's podcast, The Takeover, if you have not yet. The stuff that he be putting on YouTube, they're going to come after him too, because he's fantastic at what he does on and off the field. Very charismatic, and he's a black man. And that shit just don't, I'm telling you, we know how that ends up. And so that's where I'm at. I'm like, Jesus was probably real in the same sense as like any other like great Renaissance man. But yeah, that's why I'm not religious, but I'm definitely spiritual.
Same.
So with that being said, goddamn, you gotta go back to work. I gotta go to the beach, honestly. And I gotta end another interview too in a little bit.
Great for you. I'm just fucking with you.
Hey, I worked for 4 years straight. This is doctor's orders, yo. My therapist told me yesterday, or no, Friday when I talked to her, she was like, where you want to go on vacation? Like, where are you trying to go? I was like, oh, I'll go like Vegas. Because obviously, like I'm in Miami all the time. So kind of like if I want to be on vacation, I can be. She was like, you should go back to Vegas for a week or so. I'm like, for what? Like she's like, just because you need to be off work. I'm like, yeah, but you just told me to go back to full time. She's like, you can go back full time, but like, yeah, you still should plan to go to Vegas again soon. I'm like, is that a prescription that you're writing? Because if you're ordering me to go and telling me it's like necessary for my mental health to go back to Vegas, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to, I want to undermine my therapy, shit. So
fair.
I'm just trying to do my part, guys. Try to do my part for mental health month by going to Vegas on the doctor's orders. Once again, really quick, for all the people who just got here, let everybody know where they can find you at.
On Twitter, Skye Daddy, SKYE_Daddy. On IG, Skye Zaddy. And on TikTok, it's also Skye Zaddy.
All right, people. So go follow her there. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video and subscribe. And once again, everybody, welcome Skye to the MCSU Network. We're definitely looking forward to some fucking heat being put out by Skye. And of course, the rest of the MCSC family. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.